Well, we are in a Loaner 100D, not Ludicrous or DL or anything like that, just a 100D, and I'm actually heading back to Highland Park at this very moment to pick up my car, so I thought, why not do a little ride along video, and a special shout out to Reese for lending me his Insta360 camera so I could try it out to see if it's a worthwhile investment to me to get one. I'm really loving it, but I hate how it attaches to the phone. But that's a whole nother story. Either way, we're in a 2018 100D. It's got 2,723 miles, of which I've done about 300 of since yesterday afternoon. This car was manufactured in February of 2018. So this car is approximately 3 months old. Now, one thing that I found, we're going to go through it a little bit, but one thing I found interesting is I think this car was actually supposed to be destined for Canada, as the inner menus have an option to switch the language to French Canadian or just plain old English. And on top of that, the window sticker is in both French and English. And it lists all Canadian stuff on the window sticker. I'll try and attach that. This is my first YouTube 360 video, so I'm not sure how the editing is going to end up. Either way, you guys are going to ride along with me. So let's get going to the freeway. I'm not sure how long the battery on my phone and this device are going to last out. But either way, let's start with the interior. One of the biggest things that jump out at me, besides the blindingly white seats, they got rid of the piano interior. It's now this grained plastic. I mean, it still looks cheap, but they added some grain to it. Looks kind of good and does look better than the old piano black interior, which looked really cheap and scratched real easily. At least this, because it's got the fake wood grain in there, it's got a little bit of scratch resistance in a way, where if it gets scratched, it kind of just blends in with the wood grain they have. Now, I have got to talk about these seats. Does it look good with the color scheme in this car? Yes. You guys can look around a bit. This is a 360 video, giving you guys the freedom to look where you want to look. Please don't look at me. Kidding. I kid. But one thing I have to say is these seats get dirty so easily. My kids were in this car for a grand total of 5 minutes yesterday. Total. That was going from school to home, and that was it. And in that short time, even though I had their car seats in here, the back seats of this car got so dirty, smudged, dirt smudged, all that. This car, unless you have no kids and not putting anybody in it, otherwise expect to clean this thing all the time. I mean, this car, these white seats show every tiny speck of dirt, dust, grime, everything. If you have kids, I would definitely not go with the ultra white interior. On top of that, I posted some pictures previously when I first saw the ultra white for the very first time at Highland Park's showroom. I pushed my finger down on it, and I took some pictures of it, posted on my Facebook page, which if you haven't yet, subscribe to my Facebook page for much more frequent pictures and updates. And the material feels cheap and very poor quality. These seats feel like $39 eBay seat covers. That's what it feels like. You push your finger on it, the material just crinkles and sinks in. I know if I lightly scratch it with my nails, it's going to just run. The material's going to run. This is just the epitome of cheap feeling interiors. Now, I had a 100D, was it November-ish? It's where I did some of the autopilot camera tests. I had that car for about 2 weeks due to a parts back order on my car. And that one had the tan vegan, I really don't care how you pronounce it, seats. And those actually felt extremely high quality. They actually felt pretty much as close to real leather as you're going to get. And the material, I liken it to that of the textile seats. It had the durability feel, and I'd say also the durability of the textile seats. I mean, look at this. I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera for you guys, but it's just crinkling. And I've always been very impressed with the textile Tesla seats. They've held up great. My first car, over 80,000 miles. I have a video up on this of my old Model S 60 kilowatt hour car, and with over 80,000 miles of Vinny's car seat in the front here and Jean's car seat in the back. After a few minutes of having the car seats out, there was almost no marks, no dents. They looked like brand new. Whereas this car with 2,700 miles on, and I played around this morning. I took some seat cleaner, saw what kind of marks I could get out. The driver's seats already got black stains on them, and not very impressive. And if you see me looking up every once in a while, I'm just checking the battery level, because this 360 cam's draining my battery, so I just need an idea how long I can record for you guys. But I played around. I tried cleaning the back seats. It's probably not showing up too good on the camera, but they are still smudged. I used Armor All seat cleaner. First, I tried using just a damp rag, which got the mud off because it rained like a son of a gun yesterday. Then I went with Armor All seat cleaner, an interior cleaner, not specific for any color of seats, and it's still they're scuffed and dirty, and just not impressed. Do they look good? Yes, but are they going to keep looking good? No. And I've even seen a few other people's where just the blue jean color is coming off onto the seats. So, not impressed. Let's see. But does it look good? Yeah, you got the black and white interior. I mean, it's monochrome interior. It looks spectacular, actually. But I wouldn't choose it, especially if you got kids. And they went with a black and white interior with a blue colored car. If you're going to go with a black and white interior, get a black car or a pearl white car, multi-coat pearl white, or whatever they're calling it now. Now on my car with the premium interior, this section here is Alcantara, same as the headliner. I don't like that. It's very easy to get dirty and dusty, and then it's hard to clean. I mean, the only way to really clean that down without damaging anything is going with one of those lint rollers and wasting a dozen sheets. And then by that point, you drive it for a day and it's already all dusty and dirty again, especially if you like your windows down at all. Whereas on this, they brought back just the, I don't even know, vinyl, just vinyl right there. Now, the further closer to the window is vinyl, always has been, but this on my car is Alcantara. I like this better. They put Alcantara in here, not Alcantara on mine. It's just a really crappy rubber, even though I have the premium interior on mine. They got the same crappy material on the doors. And gotta merge. Our brand new IKEA, first one in Wisconsin. They got 1.5 megawatts of solar on the roof, yet they still charge 49 cents a kilowatt hour at their unreliable blink charging stations. Ah, yay. Let's see, some other things I've noticed. The rear view mirror is much smaller. I'd say about 25% smaller than on my car. And I don't like it because, well, why would you put a smaller mirror? I can't see the entire back window now. I gotta kind of move my head back and forth to see out the back, whereas on my car I can see just fine. It's cutting off too much of the image. Now, something that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. It's a small thing, but guess what? It's a very high demand thing. It was supposed to be in the very original Tesla cars, and that is lighted mirrors. Yeah, I know, really. Lighted mirrors. Who'd thought it would have taken them over 5 years to get lighted mirrors in Teslas? They were promised to the signature holders, car holders, and in fact, the wiring for them was right here, and it still is on a lot of them. So I'm sure that, and yes, my hand is on the wheel, as you guys can see, and the nags are just horrible with this car. So, I mean, maybe it's retrofittable. So hopefully those people that paid for lighted mirrors and were promised lighted mirrors back in the old signature car, Model S car days, might actually get them now, retrofitted 5 years later. That's if those cars are still in operation. A lot of them aren't. Actually, I don't know that. I just made that up. But just based on the original build quality, who knows? Instead of opening up like you'd imagine, these open down, and hey, it's really cheap. This is like a iPad, one of those folding iPad cases. Not too impressed. Very crappy quality. I think they would have been better off leaving this cover off and just having that turn on. No, actually that wouldn't have worked because you just wanted to block the sun. Why would you want the additional light on? So yeah, either way, this was a poor execution of that. Hey. And then it flops around, doesn't go all the way down very well. I mean, lighted mirrors, but not impressed with their covering. Let's see, what do we got? This one's also got the new center consoles in it. Great for holding my camera. It's got the two cup holders. Problem is, there's a lot of storage back there. Oops. It's just hard to reach your hand in there if you got the dual cup holders. Heaven forbid you got a cup in there. This door does not open enough. They should have went with like how the EV Annex door on their aftermarket center console is and flexes in the back and goes down, giving you full access to the compartment. This is, I have a small hand and I can't even reach it to the back. And when I do, it just closes itself again. Cup holders here are exactly the same as they've always been. Glove compartment, blah blah blah, that's about the same. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, okay, we do have biohazard defense mode, and it's spring in Wisconsin, so what does that mean? Wisconsin's the cow state. So that means all the farmers are dumping all the manure on their fields for fertilizer, so it does get a little stinky here. I did find, contrary to Bjorn's claims, biohazard defense mode did not remove the cow shit smell. And I have it off now because with biohazard defense mode, the fans turn on to full speed and I turn off the air conditioning. It's 56 degrees out. And then you would not be able to hear me. Let's see, what else do we have here? Menus. We do have the air suspension, which is standard now. I did find handling with the air suspension has improved over previous cars that I've had. That last 100D that I had was also brand spanking new when I got it. And this car handles considerably better than that one. I believe I was the first person to ever drive, other than service, to drive that previous 100D, the gray one. So, air suspension driving, got your normal chill mode, steering mode, comfort standard sport, regenerative braking standard low, I keep range mode on. That's just me, and yes, it does increase your range. Cold weather package, that hasn't changed. You got the heated steering wheel, heated wipers, all the seats are heated, your side mirrors are heated, heated windshield. Trips, same as it's been. Displays, once again, nothing's changed. E-brake power off, once again, nothing's changed. Let's go over to settings. Go down to service and reset. Still got the tire pressure monitor sensor reset, factory reset. Of course, a lot of this stuff is only available when you're parked and not moving. Driver assistance features is all the same. There is nothing special right now that Autopilot 1 doesn't have yet. Home link, which still doesn't work about 90% of the time. And then you got displays, energy saving, once again, no changes. Mobile access, data sharing. Now this is something that I did not see the last time I had an Autopilot 2 loaner, and my God, that tractor's got his wheels wobbling. Now I have data sharing on my car, and I also looked at it on the previous Autopilot 2 vehicle, and there was only one optional checkbox. Now they have it a little different, and they want you to agree that they can collect video clips from your vehicle, and then you agree to data sharing, which on my car it's only do I agree to data sharing. Apparently they're not collecting video clips from Autopilot 1 cars, which I find a little strange. I mean, that's still a lot of vehicles out there. I mean, you got people like me, I got, you know, even though it's only one camera facing forward, it's still recording your lanes. Park assist, chime, security, same as always. Doors and locks, door unlock mode, driver all, same. Child protection lock, same. Walkaway door lock, all this is all the same. Vehicle, mirror auto tilt, same. Adaptive headlights, this car's got adaptive headlights. I'm still not exactly sure what that means exactly, as the headlights don't move. Is there like additional lights? I did not notice any kind of adaptive headlights when I'm driving. The only thing I noticed was the cornering lights, which my car has too, and they're not called adaptive headlights on my car. Now, cabin overheat protection was turned on. I turned that off. It's a waste of power. If you want to keep your cabin from overheating, I recommend just leaving your doesn't show because I'm driving the HVAC system running when you're not in it. I got a whole nother video coming on that. Auto wipers beta. Now this is something I wish the Classic and the Autopilot 1 cars could have too. Now you have the option of turning auto wipers on or off. That means the rain sensing wipers, where it will adjust the wipers automatically to the amount of rain. I tried it on and I tried it off. I would love to have it off. The auto wipers on this car, with just the slightest mist, were going full blast. And then when the rain was stopped, or when the rain was going full blast, the wipers were barely running at all, forcing me to have to manually turn on the wipers and press the button to wipe the windows. Completely bass-backwards opposite of what it should be. Now also, the auto-sensing wipers on Autopilot 1 and Classic Model S cars without Autopilot work like complete crap, and they have for the last 5 years. I would love to shut the auto-sensing off and just have it either low intermittent, fast intermittent, consistent, or consistent fast. Why can't it be that simple? Add that button for us, shut it off, so those of us that hate having wipers that are schizophrenic and bouncing all over the place like a Jack Russell effing Terrier, we could just have, you know, normal wipers that work instead of this sensing crap that doesn't sense properly. It never has, probably never will. Battery check, 93%, and the camera, wow, battery's lasting longer than I was expecting. Language, now this is what I was talking about before. English or French Canadian. Navigation language, English or French Canadian. So I'm pretty darn sure this car was originally supposed to go to Canada. This was supposed to be a Canadian car, eh? But it's not. So now I'm driving it. That was just the only thing that stuck out at me. That is not present in my car, and I never saw that present in the previous Autopilot 2 cars. Driver profile, that hasn't changed, but apparently someone named Pete, someone named Steph, and Finn have previously driven this car, and they thoughtfully left all their charging locations, including their home addresses, for me in the nav system. That's why I hit reset to factory when I return loaners. Manual still here. I mean, that's all the same. Nothing too special there. So we're going to exit out of that. Something I noticed in a recent firmware release with my car too is voice navigation or voice destination entering, which used to work about 90% of the time for me, is now only working about 10% of the time. Navigate to Highland Park Supercharger. Of course, this time it works. Let's go. Let's all go to Tesla. Let's all go to Tesla. Let's all go to Tesla and grab a P100D. Now this is a 100D, and when I picked it up, they thoughtfully had a 100% charge all ready for me, minus about 3 miles. I picked this car up with 333 rated miles of range. The last one I had 336 or 337 miles of rated range at 100%, but obviously that was also straight off the supercharger, whereas this one was sitting waiting for me. Browsers. Now this one's also supposed to have the new center unit in, which is supposed to be much faster. Now, look how fast that is responding. But I'm also, at the same time, going to tell you that as of the last firmware release that my Autopilot 1 on the old Tegra 3 center console had, my center screen was also as responsive as this one is. Amazing! And to top it off, I actually have and successfully mined cryptocurrency on my car's center console as of the last firmware release. How awesome is that? And I got a whole separate video coming on that. So whether or not the speed increase on this screen is due to the new style computer they're using, or if it's just the software update, I'm more privy to believe that it is the software update, as my car is just as fast with the old Tegra 3 processors in it. Let's see, what else do we have? Either way, just take a look around. I mean, we got the panoramic roof, the non-opening panoramic roof, and I love it, absolutely love it. In fact, you guys should love it too, because you're looking, or this camera is suction cupped to the roof, and I would love to do that on my car, but I don't have it. I hate roofs that open. They always leak eventually, and that's just a repair cost I do not want to deal with. But the all-glass panoramic roof is very nice, and I'm very impressed with it. What I am not impressed with is the absolute insane amount of nags that the screen is giving me, and this is just batshit crazy. The amount of nags, and hold steering wheel. I'm holding the steering wheel and I am applying pressure. amount of nags this thing is giving is just, this is ludicrously nagging. And hold steering wheel. I'm holding steering wheel. I'm still holding steering wheel. I'm applying some pressure. Oh, there we go, finally. This takes all. Hold steering wheel again. I am holding steering wheel. This has really taken all the enjoyment out of autopilot. I'm holding the wheel. I'm applying some pressure, and it still wants me to, it still doesn't think I am. That's why people have invented things like Autopilot Buddy or done the orange test. Because, even though we're holding the wheel, the nag, and then if you don't notice it, and half the time it doesn't give you an audible warning. If I didn't have my screen set to dark, I probably would never notice the white fringing on the screen wanting me to apply more pressure. So, let's see. Now, lane keeping, Autopilot 2 lane keeping. I think, in terms of lane keeping, Autopilot 2 has finally surpassed Autopilot 1. Not by much, by slightly. Corners and curves that previously my Autopilot 1 car had a little bit of trouble with, this thing is doing much better. While at the same time, Autopilot 1 will activate and successfully navigate roads that Autopilot 2 won't even let me activate on. Lane changing is still, in my opinion, better. Hold steering wheel again. Stick my hands on here, see? It's ridiculous. Autopilot 1 still activates better on a lot of roads, and it also does a better job at lane changing. Whereas with lane changing on Autopilot 2, I found that there's a lot of times where I have the turn signal on, and it's just the amount of time it's taking just to even decide to change the lanes is a little excessive. So, that's a trade-off. Autopilot 2 is also already using more than one of the forward-facing cameras. We don't know if it's using any of the other cameras as of yet, but I do not think so. Autopilot 2 is not yet reading the speed limit signs. It looks like it is, and it might fool you into thinking it is. But what is actually happening? Hold steering wheel again. I am holding steering wheel. Let's change lanes. I'll go behind the semi-truck. Now that took about twice as long to change lanes as my Autopilot 1 would have. What was I getting at then? What I was saying. I was going to ask you guys, but this is a video, so you can't respond to me. Change lanes. Oh, speed limit signs. Autopilot 2 might fool you into thinking that it's reading speed limit signs. It actually is not. These are pre-recorded signs, and even the icon looks different on the screen than what is on Autopilot 1 when it reads the signs. When Autopilot 1 passes a road sign that it reads, boom, it changes it right away. When Autopilot 2 is a slight delay, sometimes it changes, hold steering wheel again. Sometimes it changes instantly, sometimes it changes before it should even see the sign, and sometimes it changes a few seconds or longer after you pass the sign. That lane change is buttery smooth though. What is actually happening is Autopilot 1 cars have recorded when the speed limit sign, or where the speed limit sign is, what the speed limit is on that sign. So the Autopilot 2 cars are actually drawing on that fleet data to adjust the speed to show the sign. Example. Where my parents live in Wisconsin Dells, there's a section of road where at the beginning of every summer the speed limit is lowered because it's a tourist city. They lower it right before what's called Automotion, one of the biggest car shows in the world, where the whole city is just cars, 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 every kind of car you can imagine. And they lowered the speed limit a couple days before Automotion weekend. And then they raised the speed limit right after Labor Day. That marks the summer season for the Wisconsin Dells, which is also Hold Steering Wheel, which is also the busy season. So, whereas my Autopilot 1 car reads those signs, and when they change those signs, like they did last weekend, boom, car recognizes it immediately. But the Autopilot 2 cars, now I haven't driven this specific car there, but the last one I had, I did. And at the sign change, well, the speed limit in the wintertime, in off-season, is 45 miles per hour. Speed limit in the on-season is 35 miles per hour. Well, right now it's 35 miles per hour. Well, the one I had last time up there, the Autopilot 2 car, still, when I passed the exact spot where the signs were, displayed 45, not 35. So they got the speed limit wrong. Likewise, other roads that I've noticed that are slower in the winter and faster in the summer, the car's doing just the opposite. And because it might be a country road, it's locking the speed 5 miles over what it thinks is the posted speed limit, because it's not a divided highway. So instead of being able to do 45 miles an hour, Autopilot has then locked you in and limited it to 35 plus 5 over. So that's a little off-putting. Eventually, hopefully, they'll get the speed limit signs read. I'm not sure why they can't do that yet, but I guess, still writing the software from scratch. Battery check, 90%. Wow. And that's about all I can really say. Interior, overall, they've improved it. The fit and finish is great in this car. In that last one with the panel roof that I had, you could actually see up inside here and all the mechanicals. This was not installed very well. Much better on here. I think instant on for the lights would have been better too. Hold steering wheel. I'm holding the damn wheel. Let's see, how far do we got to go yet? 45 minutes yet to go. What the F? Oh, Tesla, you need a service center in Wisconsin. This is really getting old after 5 years of having to drive to Illinois for service. Let's see, what else can we talk about? I think I mentioned already, the handling feels better on this car than it did on the last one I was in. And the brakes are considerably more responsive. Of course, they've also haven't been used at all. Brand new car. Glove compartment's the same. Ironically, this one has gotten the old style UMC, even though they've been delivering cars with the new style 32 amp limited UMCs for a while. So I thought that was kind of nice. I mean, I really see no reason to put out a UMC that has a lower hold steering wheel. Has a slower charge rate. I mean, ideally, you want as fast of a charge rate as you can when you're charging an electric car. I mean, they got rid of the old style chargers, which were 40 for the single charger, 80 amp for the dual charger, and they replaced it with either a 48 amp or 72 amp. So they lowered it on the top end and they raised it on the lower end. But if you don't get a UMC that has that speed, what's the point? Why do you want slower charging in an electric car? So overall, that's my opinion of this car. Just the things that probably irk me the most, besides the excessive nagging, which is on all the Autopilot enabled cars of any kind now. A smaller rear view mirror, which is really kind of crappy. Harder to see out the back already. The Autopilot, the rear view camera looks the same as ever. Nav is still the same. Oh, they brought back in the latest firmware release, they gave us back number 12 for audio for the equalizer. Yay! Finally my sound system won't sound like crap. And I don't care what anybody says, when they got rid of the 12s and forced us to 8s, I played around with my equalizer settings for hours. I could not get it to sound as good as my car does. Oh, hiccups. When equalizer settings could go to 12. And on this car, I have adjusted it a bit, and sure enough, I got it sounding just as good as my car did when I was able to do 12. So they did a firmware update on my car, and hopefully I'll be able to put it back to 12 when I pick it up in a little bit. So that's awesome sauce. Navigation still sucks as much as ever. Actually, recent firmware updates have made the navigation considerably worse for navigating than it was previously. Yes, believe it or not, Tesla did make their routing worse on previous updates. Routes that I've taken many times with the nav on that were perfect and short are now it's trying to route me 30 minutes longer than it used to. And it's not just this car, my car too. That was as of about 3 weeks ago when I got that software update. Didn't try... Oh, there's no XM on this car. It's got the premium sound system. I'm surprised there's no XM. Interesting. Now, ultra high fidelity sound system in this car does sound amazing. It's got the subwoofer in the trunk, and obviously I can't play any music for you guys. Well, why the heck not? Sorry, no Aerosmith for you guys. Let's do some Techno X, because then I won't get copyright infringement notifications. Let's see. Sounds really, really, really crisp. The bass is there. Excellent sound on this car. Let's see. Whoa. That was crazy. Did you guys see that? The car just slammed on the brakes for that overpass. Yeah. That's actually happened about 4 times now with this car. It's not as bad anymore on my Autopilot 1. But, you know, the same thing was happening on the last Autopilot 2 car. Is the Autopilot 2, I've noticed, is braking for overpasses considerably worse than an Autopilot 1 has and had. Not very impressive considering how high overpasses, and not just overpasses, even overhead road signs. It should know pretty well, especially considering it's got a lock on the vehicle in front of us, that it's successfully locked onto the car in front of us and knows that, hey, the car in front of us went through just fine. Well, you know, that must be a drawbridge that's lowering down over the road. Let's just slam on the effing brakes in the middle of the freeway with a Ford Transit tailgating us. But yeah, sound system, so much better. Let's see, what better way to test the sound system than to listen to a 90-year-old song that's been remixed. spectacular, but hold on a second. I don't like the toll roads taking my picture when I go through. No reason that the government needs to know who's driving the car through the tollway. If I had my car, I actually have little picture cutouts. One day I was Barack Obama going through the Chicago tollway system. I've been Donald Trump. I just hold up the little picture, so when it takes the picture as you go through, I look like somebody else. Got the idea from Matlock, believe it or not. For those of you old enough to remember, Matlock used to sit and watch that with my grandmother a long time ago. I've been Andy Griffith going through some of the tollways too. It's kind of neat, especially the ones that let you go back and actually see a recording or a photograph of your vehicle going through. Not all of them do that, but that's kind of fun. But man, I'm loving this panoramic roof, or all glass roof for suction cup mounting. It's pre-tinted. The tinting is excellent. It was sunny out for a little while yesterday, and it's perfect. UV, you don't feel any of that sun, the heat coming through the roof. Although I suppose if you are trying to sleep in your car while supercharging someplace, might pose a little bit of a problem. Then I'd recommend picking up a couple of Evianix's all glass roof sunshades, or panoramic roof sunshades. But I really do like the less cheap looking grain they put in the on the plastic instead of that crappy panel or piano black. Let's just take a look here. You know what? Considering that this was supposed to be a Canadian car, perhaps that $144,000 price tag was actually Canadian dollars. What do you think of them apples there? But I'll let you guys all take a look. This is in both English and French. So I got some photos of that. I'm going to try and interject those into the 360 video. And I think that is it for this review. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. The handling of the car, Autopilot 2 is working just so much better than it did in the past. And I'm impressed with the progression. Autopilot 1 overall is still superior to Autopilot 2 yet. The only thing that Autopilot 2 seems to be doing better is it's maintaining the actual lane lines better and staying in them. With a little less wandering. Although Autopilot 1, and I'm talking maybe like 5 or 10% better at staying centered and maintaining the lanes better. Everything else, Autopilot 1 is still doing better than Autopilot 2. So I think we've kept this video going 43 minutes and 45 seconds. Six Flags Great America, Gurney Mills Mall, Lincoln MKX. Let's see, what else am I missing here? I mean, there's no jump seats in this car. I mean, it's a Model S is a Model S. I just personally... Oh, seat comparisons. This has got the new style seats. I find these are much better than the old next gens. They're actually very comfortable, and they cup the body very well. I'm still among the mindset of I'm a small person. I am not a big person. I'm 5'6". Overall, I'm pretty short. This cups me. This feels good. I have a feeling that if you're a much larger person, a plus-size person perhaps, you might not be as comfortable because the fat rolls might be hitting, or just the overall back might be leaning on that. But then does this have? Okay, that's just lumbar. Even the lumbar feels better than my car. Ooh, some improvements. Now this should have the adjustable headrests. I can't for the life of me figure out how to adjust them. Yeah. Yep, no clue how to adjust the adjustable headrest. Couldn't figure it out on the last car either. Someone told me, I forgot already. Seat quality. I'm still a fan of the textile for durability. The original textile seats and whatever the equivalent of right now are the most durable seats I have ever dealt with in a car. They're that good. The runner-up would be the leather, of course, but Tesla doesn't offer real leather anymore. They do offer the faux leather, the fake stuff. You know what? Screw it. I'm keeping up with traffic. This is Illinois. Everybody goes 20 over. The material used for these ultra whites is horrible. I mean, the feel, it's nice and soft, but the durability is just not there. And for a car with 2,000 miles, you know what? The seams are already coming apart. I've never seen the seams pulling apart that soon in a car. But I have to admit, I am a big fan of the look of that last 100D that I was in. That I had when my car was in for service at the end of last year. It had the cream interior, cream seats, cream carpet, black headliner, black dash, black everything else. But the cream, everything that's white in this car was cream. The carpet was cream. Cream on the black was gorgeous, absolutely stunning, and I would love that color scheme on my car. That was amazing. That was like the dream interior color right there. Oh, Buckley Road. We got to exit here. Autopilot off. And Autopilot 1 still is only showing cars in the lane directly in front of me. It's not showing vehicles in all lanes. And I did not notice it showing or displaying motorcyclists yet. Everything shows up as a car. And thank you, Tesla, for covering the tolls. Yes, when you get a Tesla loaner, if you have to go through a toll booth or a toll recording, they cover the cost of your tolls. So I take the quick way going when I got the loaner, and I take the long tolls route on the way home to save $6 in tolls. But we're talking only like a 3-minute difference in driving. Yeah, I am that cheap. Tough. I didn't even have to charge this car at all. The supercharged Monday at Highland Park cost $0. Obviously, since Tesla still owns this car, they're not going to charge themselves for supercharging. But if someone uses a referral code to buy this car, of course they get the unlimited free supercharging. Although, if they do not use a referral code, they will be stuck having to pay for supercharging forever after they use up their free 400 kilowatt hours per year. But man, the seats, these are a major turnoff. I do kind of like this new console, the new consoles they're installing now. Although, like I mentioned, it's a little hard to reach up in there, and it's a slightly poor use of the available space. But when I dropped off my car, it did remind me why I liked the old open space so much. Now, I do have an EVNX removable center console. If you're interested in that, if you have an older Model S, feel free to check out my videos on that. And it gives me the option. If I want the center console, which I do about 80% of the time, it's there. If I don't want it, I can actually pull it out and remove it in about 10 seconds, and I have that nice, huge open space. Whereas this, you are literally stuck with it. Right turn here. You are stuck with it. As my buddy Mike Anthony, you can check out his channel. What is it? What did you change your channel to, Mike? I'm sure you're going to comment in the comment section below. I think it was Archives of Mike Anthony instead of Mike Anthony Autosports. Mike has his 2014 P85. you got as a certified pre-owned. And once again, congratulations on your P85 mic. You got it, what was it, last summer? End of last summer? Either way, congratulations on that mic. He had the old style, and you can now get retrofits to the new style. Center consoles and armrests. Please chime in again, Mike, on how much that cost to have that done. I think it was, what, $1,500, and that gives you this, and it also gives you the, oh yeah, almost forgot. There's USB ports in the rear now, and there's these very not durable and very weak design cup holders in the back that are easily broken. Kid sitting in the back accidentally kicks it, and that'll crack right off. But it's got cup holders in the back now, integrated, and 2 USB ports. And I'm thinking, only 2? Shoot, almost every car when I was in China. Oh, Sheriff is hiding there. Almost every car when I was in China had at least 6 USB ports for charging devices. Even the crappiest, oldest taxis, USB ports everywhere for charging your devices. And yet, a 100% electric vehicle, Tesla, with the biggest electric vehicle batteries in the world on a production car, has 2 and now 2. But I have a video coming on how to increase that number without having to retrofit anything or even add 12 volt, power plug on your car. So much more stuff coming. And we're almost at, we're 13 minutes. All right, might as well just keep you guys on. You've been with me this long, and I had to check. Doesn't look like I got any phone calls or anything. Might as well keep you guys on until we get to Highland Park and pull up. Apparently also my referral program Arachnid rims came on, so they're going to put those in the trunk of my car. Jaguar. Whoa, hey, you're dropping rocks there, mister. What the fuck? And he's deviating from his lane into my lane. Well, this car doesn't have a dash cam. Kind of stinks. I mean, we got so many cameras on here. Tesla, you need to enable dash cam functionality with your autopilot cameras. And I know if you don't want to record it to the actual center unit, maybe allow it to record to a USB drive or a thumb drive of some sort. That'd be a great addition. Getting a little stuff in here. What else can I ramble about? The floor mats still suck. Still cheap floor mats. They're about the same as a $10 set of floor mats from Walmart. The WeatherTechs are pretty much still a must if you're in any kind of nasty climate, or the rubber ones from Evanex, or the Lux mats from Evanex. I mean, these are just literally as cheap of floor mats as you can get for a $144,000 car. Had better ones in my Nissan when I got my old $15,000 Nissan Econo box. Another cop. Wow, where's all the cops coming from today? Sitting there with those lights on. Still hate that smart zoom for the nav. Why can't they just leave it like it used to be or give them the option to shut it off? Wiper jets are aimed actually properly on this car. Still can't get them aimed properly on mine. If I put them any higher, they go up and over the roof. Any lower, and they hit the actual wiper arms, and nothing gets on the window. Lose-lose situation there. Steering wheel material seems to have changed again. It's gotten cheapened a little bit. Whereas the material on the doors has been improved in quality. They brought back a thicker rubber instead of the foam that was on my car that is all beat to hell already from kids. My first car material they use, no problem at all. Over 80,000 miles. My 90D, they changed to like this really soft foam on the door sills, and that did not last at all. Within the first 1,000 miles, it was already pretty much destroyed. Not a warranty item, it's considered wear and tear. It's a really crappy, poor choice of materials on Tesla's part. And now they brought back something that's somewhat in between. It's still a foamy, rubberish feel. Not as durable as the original, but better than what they had switched to. The 90DL, the red 90DL that I had last summer, you guys can check back on some videos on that I talked about. That one was old enough where it had the original style on it. And that was great. Wow, did that feel nice. And it actually looked good, too. Would love to retrofit that on my car right now. Now, if you can see it, the grill for the front window defogger and defroster is they brought back the mesh. Now, originally it was the mesh. People complained that it wasn't doing a good enough job at defrosting or defogging the window. I never had a problem with it on my first car. The problem was people didn't want to turn up the defrosters. They didn't want to crank things up high enough to actually get the job done because they didn't want to waste the power. Well, now that the batteries are holding more power, it's not a problem anymore. Tesla changed the design to these really poor vents that do an even worse job. They'll defrost a little window of space, but not enough. And I hate it. I'd love to retrofit this back onto my new car, or my 90D, not new car. It's over 2 years old now. But then now they brought it back, and I love this because you don't get that reflection off the window like you used to, like you do on the actual vents. Maybe at some point I'll pick some of that grating up used and retrofit it on somehow. It just did such a better job. And there's a Infinity tailgating us. Oh, popcorn. Oh. Much better. Hold steering wheel again. Somebody out there want to go back to the beginning of this video and actually keep track of how many times that it's asked me to hold steering wheel? Hold steering wheel again. I'm holding the wheel. Tesla, come on. .5 miles from Highland Park. Hold steering wheel again. Let's see how it does with braking at a stoplight. Oh, it's a little smoother than my car. Although I usually manually disengage it, I don't usually let the car brake to a stoplight. It uses more friction brakes than regen. Let's see, battery check. Oh, battery's still doing good. Wow. Get Vinny's tag. Anything else in there? Nope. That closes too. There's no phone charger in here. Oh, I see. That's where it goes. Oh, it's actually kind of nice. I actually really am liking the center console in this car, but I just can't justify the cost to retrofit at this time. Although the cup holders in the back would be great. The problem there is anything in those cup holders, Vinny would probably grab and throw. That's why I don't keep anything up here unless we're in the car. As soon as I want to get out of the car, I put my drinks on the floor if Vinny's in the back. Otherwise, he's going to take it and throw it. And I can't tell you how many times my old MS-60 had iced tea spilled all over into the compartment. Good to know, though, is if you have the open design, that's a watertight compartment. So anything that spills in there is just going to stay in there. It's not going to leak out. Porsche, the Exchange. and they have 3 electric car charging stations there, and all 3 they ice themselves. And while you change lanes, I'm doing it manually. Out of the way, because I want to make this light, and this light has a red light camera, so being prepared to slam on the brakes. Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins. Oh, I forgot to get donuts for the service center. Always treat your service center employees right. Get them donuts or pizza. They like pizza and donuts. Pizza if you're arriving at lunchtime. If you're arriving early in the morning, donuts are good. Or even in the afternoon. If it's a holiday, bring some cake. Don't bring fruit cake. They like cake. Don't forget to bring some cheap plates too. Treat your service center right, and they will take care of you and treat you right as well. Although they should treat you right anyways, but I mean, it's a nice personal touch. I'll have to drop some donuts off the next time I come through. Just had a change in plans, so I had to do a much more urgent pickup of my car. I have to head out of town this afternoon, and they didn't really fancy me keeping their loaner for 4 days. And I'd like your guys' feedback on a 360 VR video too. If you guys like this or not, I'm debating buying a 360 camera. Oh, yellow Nissan Xterra 2001. Mine, I had the same one, only mine was a 2002 yellow as well. You can see that in some of my older videos. That car now basically gets 300 miles a year put on by my dad and lives in my parents' driveway, but it's paid for and it's worth practically nothing. So why get rid of something? Keep it as a backup vehicle, or those times I do have to pull a very heavy trailer. And it's got off-road tires on it now. So, yeah, fun. Mailman. Highland Park really needs a bigger facility. They should have just bought the whole darn building. But Tesla didn't have the money back then to do. They should really try and acquire this section and the upstairs. Let's see, here we are. Let's see, where is my... Oh, there's my car. Oh, they did wash it. Wow. Okay, let's just do a quick little drive through as long as we're here, right? Oh, that supercharger was out of service yesterday, that last one. There's a new Model S called Tesla Mobile Service. Huh. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Model 3s. There's some Model 3s. And a Maserati. Ugh. Gray Model 3, black Model 3. Ooh, looking good. What's on that side? Model S's. Another Model 3. That hood gives it away. Model S's. Model 3, black one there. Oh, there's a pretty dirty. Lot waiting delivery. Some classics. Is that a green? No, that wasn't the green. Some more back here. Alright. Well, time to go pull up by my car and, oh. Uh-oh. Someone's Wisconsin car just got trailered in. Or maybe it's going back out. 70D. I suppose it could be a CPO waiting for delivery. Well, I guess I will park right here. I have some things that I need to unload into my car, and this is pretty darn close because there's my 90D right there. And I'm sorry for all you people. I very much prefer the old nose cone style over the refresh front end. I'm sorry, the refresh front end is just too empty and plain. So that's it. We are at Highland Park. Let me check to see how this worked out. That was pretty cool. Two versions of this video, as you can probably see. I have the actual regular 360, and I'll do a VR, so if you have VR goggles, you can try it too. Check that out too. So, I go in, get my keys, transfer my stuff over, and head out. Adios!